You have been staring at your garden for weeks now, maybe months. The plants look weak. The leaves yellow too early. The roots sit shallow in hard, pale dirt that cracks when it dries and turns to mud when it rains. You have tried new seeds. You have tried more water. You have added fertilizer from the store and watched it do almost nothing. And at some point you started wondering if the ground itself has simply given up. That is not a dramatic thought. That is an accurate observation. Your soil is not tired. It is not unlucky. It is dead. The living system that once made things grow has collapsed. And the reason nobody told you how to fix it is because the fix is simple. It is fast, and nobody makes much money selling it to you. This is how you bring dead soil back to life in a single growing season, step by step. No expensive products, no complicated science, just a sequence of actions that work, in the order that matters. Before you add a single thing to your soil, you need to stop doing the things that killed it. That might sound obvious, but most people skip this part entirely. They try to heal the ground while continuing the exact habits that destroyed it. The three most common killers of backyard soil are excessive tilling, synthetic chemical fertilizers, and leaving the ground bare between seasons. Tilling feels productive. You see the soil turn over. It looks loose and fresh. But what you are actually doing is destroying the fungal networks that feed your plants. Soil is not just dirt. It is a web of microscopic organisms, fungal threads, bacteria, and biological activity that transfers nutrients to roots. Every time you run a tiller through that web, you shred it, and it takes months to rebuild. If you are tilling your garden every spring, you are resetting the biology to zero every single year. Stop tilling. That alone will change everything. Synthetic fertilizers are the second killer. They deliver a short burst of nutrients, yes, but they do it in a way that bypasses the biological system your soil needs to function on its own. Over time, the microbial life in your soil stops working because it has nothing to do. The fertilizer is doing the job artificially. When you stop applying it, the soil has no natural fertility left. It is like feeding someone through a tube for 10 years and then asking them to chew. The muscles are gone. If you have been using synthetic fertilizer regularly, that is a major reason your soil feels dead. It probably is. The third killer is bare soil. When you harvest your garden in the fall and leave the ground exposed through winter, you are letting rain pound the surface into a hard crust, letting wind strip away the top layer, and giving the sun permission to bake out whatever moisture and biological life remains. Nature does not leave soil bare. Anywhere. Every meadow, every forest floor, every wild hillside is covered. Your garden should be too, always. So step one is simply to stop. Stop tilling. Stop applying synthetic fertilizer. Stop leaving the soil exposed. These three changes cost you nothing, and they are the foundation for everything that comes next. Step two is understanding what your soil actually needs. You do not need a laboratory for this. You need a jar, some water, and 15 minutes. Take a handful of soil from about 6 inches deep in your garden. Put it in a clear glass jar. Fill the jar with water. Shake it hard for about 2 minutes and set it down on a flat surface. Walk away and come back in 24 hours. What you will see is layers. Sand settles to the bottom first, then silt in the middle, then clay on top. And if there is any organic matter, it will float on the surface of the water. What you are looking for is balance. Healthy soil has a reasonable mix of all three mineral layers, with a visible amount of organic material floating on top. If your jar shows heavy clay with almost nothing floating, your soil is dense, compacted, and starved of organic life. If it is almost entirely sand with no floating material, your soil drains too fast and holds no nutrients. Either way, the solution is the same. You need organic matter, a lot of it. Step 3 is the single most important action you will take. Add organic matter to the surface of your soil, not mixed in, not tilled under, laid on top. This is how nature does it. Leaves fall. Plants die back. Animals leave waste. It all sits on the surface and slowly breaks down, feeding the soil from the top. You are going to mimic that process, but faster. The best material to use is finished compost. If you have your own compost pile, that is ideal. If not, you can buy compost in bulk from a local landscape supply yard. Do not buy the small bags from hardware stores if you can avoid it. They are expensive for what you get, and the quality varies wildly. What you want is dark, crumbly, earthy-smelling compost that looks like rich forest floor soil. Spread it across your entire garden surface, 2 to 3 inches deep. Do not dig it in. Just lay it on top. If you cannot get compost, aged manure works as a second option. Chicken, horse, cow, or rabbit manure that has been sitting for at least 6 months. Fresh manure will burn your plants and introduce problems you do not want. Aged manure is a different material entirely. It is broken down, mellow, and full of the biological life your soil is missing. Spread it the same way, 2 to 3 inches on the surface. If you cannot get either of those, use leaf mold. That is simply old leaves that have been sitting in a pile long enough to decompose into a dark, crumbly, slightly spongy material. Most people rake their leaves to the curb every fall and throw away the single best soil amendment they will ever have access to. If you still have leaves available, pile them up, wet them down, and let them sit. In a few months, they become one of the most powerful things you can put on a garden. Step 4 is covering that layer of organic matter with mulch. This is not the same thing as the compost. This is a protective blanket that goes on top. Wood chips, straw, or shredded leaves all work. The purpose of this layer is to hold moisture in, keep the sun off the surface, regulate temperature, and give ground-dwelling organisms a habitat to work in. Earthworms, beetles, fungi, and bacteria all thrive under mulch. They will begin breaking down the compost layer beneath it and pulling those nutrients into the soil for you. You do not need to do anything. They do the work. You just need to give them the conditions to show up. Spread mulch 3 to 4 inches deep over the compost. If you are planting soon, pull the mulch back in small circles where your transplants or seeds will go. The rest stays covered. Always. Step 5 is introducing biology directly. Your soil may be so depleted that the organisms you need are simply not present anymore. You can jumpstart that process. The easiest way is worm castings. You can buy a bag of worm castings at most garden centers. Sprinkle a thin layer over your compost before you mulch, or mix a few handfuls into a 5-gallon bucket of water and pour it over the surface. This is essentially a transfusion of living biology into dead ground. The microorganisms in worm castings begin colonizing your soil immediately. If you want to go a step further, you can buy mycorrhizal fungi inoculant. This is a powder or granular product that contains the spores of beneficial fungi. These fungi form a symbiotic relationship with plant roots. They extend the root system by orders of magnitude, helping plants access water and nutrients they could never reach on their own. You apply it directly to the root zone when you plant. A small amount goes a very long way, and the effects are dramatic. Plants grown with mycorrhizal connections are stronger, more drought-tolerant, and more productive. This is not a new discovery. This is how plants have grown for 400 million years. We just spent the last century destroying the system and then wondering why nothing works. Step 6 is planting with intention. Once your soil has compost, mulch, and biology, you want to choose plants that actively improve the ground while they grow. Clover, beans, peas, and other legumes pull nitrogen from the air and fix it into the soil through their roots. Plant them between your rows, around your borders, or as a cover crop if you are not growing food yet. Daikon radishes are another powerful tool. Their roots grow deep, sometimes 2 feet or more, breaking through compacted layers and creating channels for water and air. When they die back, those root channels remain, and the decomposing root material feeds organisms deep in the soil where your compost has not reached yet. You do not need to plant everything at once. Even adding a patch of clover to one section of your garden starts a process that spreads outward over time. Now, here is the part most people do not believe until they see it. If you follow these steps in order, starting in early spring, you will see visible results within weeks. The soil surface will darken. You will notice moisture retention improving. You will see earthworm activity where there was none before. By midsummer, your plants will look different from anything you have grown in years. The root systems will be deeper. The leaves will be darker green. The production will increase. By the end of the season, when you push a shovel into that same ground that was cracked and gray in March, it will slide in easily. The soil will be dark, moist, and crumbly. It will smell like earth, like a forest floor after rain. That is not poetry. That is biology functioning the way it is supposed to. One season. That is all it takes. Not because the soil completely transforms in a few months, but because the living system restarts fast once you give it what it needs and stop doing what kills it. The second season will be even better. The third season will be remarkable. Each year the biology compounds, the fungal networks expand, the nutrient cycling deepens. You build a system that feeds itself. And that is the part of this that matters most for the long run. You are not just fixing a garden bed. You are building a food system on your own ground that does not depend on store-bought fertilizer, does not depend on chemical inputs, and does not collapse when prices go up or supply chains get thin. The soil under your feet is the most valuable thing you own, and it has been waiting for you to start treating it that way. You do not need to buy your way out of dead soil. You just need to stop killing it and start feeding it. Nature handles the rest.